Hello, highly sensitive people. I'm Julie Beyond, psychotherapist specializing in the trait of high sensitivity, and I like to offer tips here and there for things that work for me as a sensitive person, for my clients, and the students that I work with on my online course. Um, so one of the things that comes up a lot in understanding ourselves as sensitive people is that we have a need for a lot of downtime and a lot of alone time. And in fact, we're recommending up to 2 hours a day of time alone. And that means that you can do relaxing, soothing things, whether you're in nature, meditating, yoga, listening to music, reading, watching your favorite shows, something that's a form of self-care, and it is an incredible important part of our well-being. It's the difference between being well and not being well as an HSP, as a sensitive person, and that looks different for different people. And I would love to hear in the comments what are some of the things that you do for self-care, and what are the things that kind of fill up that energy tank, and what are the things that drain it. That's something that's helpful to kind of understand about yourself. And nature tends to be something that most HSPs talk about as refilling, refueling. That's something that I really love, is to just be in a really quiet space, but paying attention to the trees, the sounds of the wind going through the trees and the birds, and really being mindful about those experiences and paying attention to those experiences. Remember, you have, if you're an HSP, a highly sensitive person, you've got what's called a depth of processing as part of your trait. And that means we're processing a lot of information. We're taking in a lot of information. And that means it's kind of like having a supercomputer brain that you need to allow time for downloading and processing. And if you're having trouble sleeping, for example, that's one of the pieces of our wellness, is that we need that 2 hours a day and that one full day off a week where we recharge, reset, and get ready for the next day. That, filling up that tank. Finding creative ways to get that for yourself is incredibly important and makes a really big difference. Most of the time, if we've been in quite a balanced state, it's because we've been doing those kinds of things for ourselves. And when we get unbalanced, it usually means that we've been skipping those kinds of things and having too many things on our lap. So lots of HSPs have a tendency to take care of a lot of the people around them, sort of the caretaker in the group. And that's a beautiful part of our trait, but it also means that sometimes that means that we're not actually taking care of our needs, and that leads to a lot of unhappiness and problems down the line. So make sure that you're prioritizing your needs up there, that your needs are always a priority, and that's not a selfish thing. That's how we fill up our tank so that we can be those givers in life, and it's an important part of our well-being. So I'd love to hear some of your tips for what do you do for self-care. What makes you feel your best? I think when we share our ideas, we get ideas from each other and we get inspired by each other. So I hope you're doing those things more and more for yourself. And notice, give yourself a week or two of doing that and notice the difference, and see that you're actually more efficient, more focused, more effective when you take that time to recharge. So there's a difference between resting and recharging, and you actually need to do both. Resting kind of comes first, and then recharging comes after that. So what are you doing to recharge? What's your self-care? What keeps you well and balanced? Love to hear from you. And continue taking care of yourselves. We need you thriving in the world. Bye-bye.